Your pictures?
I know I'm.
Oh. Make it worse. I was just thinking about drunk. Okay, it tickles way more on the sides than the stomach does.
Tickle liposuction is an office-based procedure. It's actually been around for about a good 12 to 14 years. In Europe, came to the States about 4 years ago. What distinguishes Tickle Lipo from any other form of liposuction in the marketplace is really its gentleness. It does not heat or burn tissues like lasers and what's called a vaser, which is ultrasound-based liposuction. It doesn't use cutting instruments to chop through and cut like traditional liposuction or something called power-assisted liposuction. Tickle Lipo uses vibration and rotation with dull, non-sharp instruments, if you will. So on the numbing side, we're taking a little small tube, 2.5 millimeters in diameter, and actually with a blunt end, and just going gently weaving through the tissues, and we're spraying anesthetic fluid into the tissues. So not only is it gently weaving through the tissues, the vibration helps to further minimize any discomfort. After we've numbed the tissues thoroughly that we need to numb, we're going to go through with maybe a 3 millimeter instrument, nothing bigger, still with a blunt end, little side holes, but now we just increase the vibration rotation rate. And what that does is helps to liquefy the fat and break it down so we can easily just suction it out. So the nice thing about this is we're not heating and burning, we're not cutting and chunking, we're just simply liquefying and removing. What that also means is the support structures that hold skin tethered down to muscle, they're left pretty much intact. They're not burned, they're not cut. So when you evacuate that fat, your body naturally wants to take away that area of loss, okay, because they don't want any Swiss cheese or open hole effect in our body. So we naturally just pull down on the skin, and we have a next secondary skin tightening because of Tickle Lipo. One other thing, which is really, a few other things. Because of the fact this instrument is vibrating and rotating, this vibration and rotation acts what's called a gating mechanism. By gating mechanism, what I mean is it tells the brain that you're really not feeling any discomfort, or it minimizes discomfort. So it's a further enhancement of the whole anesthesia process. Also, because of that, I can use still very much adequate amounts of anesthesia, but less than I would if I was doing another type of instrument where it's very traumatic or burny. And therefore, I can feel the tissues more easily during the procedure. I can feel the texture of the tissues, the thickness of the tissues, and the symmetry of the tissues. So I know my endpoints, I know my end results, and I know what kind of results I'm going to get because of all that. That's truly what distinguishes Tickle from anything else in the marketplace. Well, if you've ever been through a procedure and somebody's wheeling you on a gurney into a pre-op holding area, which is already cold and sterile, now into the operating room, which is even more cold, more sterile, and it's cold temperature-wise because we keep operating rooms cold. It's sterile because everything has to be sterile for the procedure. It's not a warm, inviting environment. Versus imagine just walking into an office, walking procedure room, putting your garment on, laying down on a nice heated padded table, having music playing, and just having people talk to you as we properly prepare you for the local anesthesia only. It's much more soothing. We're talking to them, we're joking around with them, and they're playing their own music, so they're relaxed, and that's part of the deal of proper preparation before the procedure. Well, if you go to a hospital, not only do you have the surgeon's costs, you have the anesthesiologist costs, you have the operating room costs, you have the recovery room costs, you have medication costs. So they all add up, and it can be a relatively significant amount of money that you're spending. But unfortunately, a lot of times you go see a doctor who's going to do it as an operating room procedure, they'll quote you their costs, but leave off the fact that there are other hidden costs that you're not going to know that you're incurring until the time of procedure. As opposed to an office-based setting, typically most of us is just one cost. It's the cost of the procedure. Anesthesia is included. Obviously, the procedure room is included. So you're getting everything condensed into one cost. And more often than not, there's a significant savings by having an office-based setting than a surgical setting, let alone, theoretically, if you're having it done under general anesthesia, you're going to have a more traumatic procedure done, therefore potentially more downtime, more time off from work, so loss of income on the back end as well.